Hey everybody, I have here on me the Nokia 8 Sirocco. So this is the newest release, newest smartphone from the former mobile phone king, Nokia. So I'm gonna do my usual unboxing and hands-on of this device, but first I'm gonna put the phone down. I want to talk a little bit about my predicament. So for viewers who have no idea who I am, you just watching this video because you came across a search for the Nokia phone, I apologize. You can skip the next minute or two of this. But for people who know who I am, who might have seen my previous videos on my previous channel before, so the situation is that I accidentally deleted my Google account 2 days ago, and that deletes everything. My Gmail account, all my Google documents, all my Google photos, and including my YouTube account. So obviously, I'm pretty much devastated by this move, professionally anyway, because all my contacts are on my Gmail and I have a lot of Word documents because I'm a writer first and foremost. This YouTube stuff is just a side gig. So all my documents are on Google Docs and the YouTube channel. I've been working pretty hard to try to slowly build that up over the past 8 months, and it's all gone now. So I immediately, after I realized I accidentally deleted my account, I immediately went to Google to try to recover my account. And I was able to give them my password and the answers to my secret questions, and then also tell them exactly when, the day and month I started. I mean, the month and year I started my Google account to verify my identity. But even then, Google says they can't trust me, so it's gonna take 3 to 5 days to review just to make sure that it's really my account before they will give it back to me. So now, I should just be optimistic, but then I've been doing a lot of reading on the web, and I'm actually pretty paranoid now and kind of pessimistic because from what I read on the web, Google is not good at helping its users recover accounts. So this is an article written by Ron Miller from TechCrunch. So he's a legit tech journalist, and read the header. He basically lost his Google account for an entire month, and it was a similar situation. He got locked out and he was able to verify his identity in like every way possible, and Google still would not give him back his account. He only got it back at the end because he knew someone at Google and that person kept pushing the case for him internally. If he didn't know that person at Google, he probably would have lost his account forever. So now, unfortunately, I don't know anyone at Google, so there is a chance I may have just lost my account forever. So I told myself, you know what? There's no use just crying and waiting. I'm gonna go ahead and just do this Nokia video on this channel. Now, I'm still holding out hope that I will get my account back. So please, if you subscribe to my previous account, please don't unsubscribe from that. I might get that back. I'm going to give myself another week or two to try to talk with Google to get it back. I don't know if they'll listen to me. But in case they don't, then I guess this is my new channel. This is my very first video. I'm going to have stuff coming up too because I'm actually going to Korea in 2 days. And the reason I'm going is because I'm going to be testing out the newest smartphone from LG. So I can't talk about what phone that is yet, but if you follow smartphone news, you know what phone that is. So I will have one of the first videos on that. I think I'm going with like a group of 10 other journalists, so there will probably be 10 videos on YouTube. I'll be one of the 10 of the new LG phone. Hopefully I'll be having that video on my original channel, but if not, I might just have it here. So without further ado, I'm going to cut back to my unboxing stretch, and then I'm going to cut back to here where I'm going to talk about the phone. Thank you for all your support, by the way. I think there was like 7 or 8 people that noticed I was missing, and they searched for me and found this channel. So thank you so much, guys. It really means a lot. I'm really flattered. Again, I'm late to this because all the other major YouTubers have already had their hands on it. So it's interesting how that works. There are some companies such as, fortunately, the biggest ones actually, Apple, Huawei, Xiaomi, LG, they give me early access to phones. So that's why with these phones, I get them just as early as all the other big YouTubers and tech sites out there. But for some companies such as Samsung, Nokia, and Sony, I like they don't give me phones early, so I have to get them through the Hong Kong PR, and that's why it's always like weeks or months behind everybody else. So luckily for me, all the big brands I get them early, other than Samsung. Samsung's the only big brand left that I get late. Oh, this phone looks nice. Wow, this is the first Nokia device that looks very nice to me in years, in my opinion. So I'm gonna put this to the side first. So the packaging comes with a case. This is a pretty nice case. It's not like a soft jelly. It's relatively hard. It's not super hard shell. It's like kind of a blend. You can kind of flex it, but it's not a soft jelly case. You have a SIM ejector tool right here. Papers. So right here is probably the charging brick, I assume. So you have the charging brick. This is the Hong Kong UK leg. It's really bulky because you know in the US and China you use a much smaller one. And Europe too. Europe used the two poles, the two circular plugs. So you have a lot of cables down here. So I'm assuming you have here, you have earphones that are USB-C because this phone does not have a headphone jack. So you have earphones right here. And then you have a USB-C cable. This cable, it's nice and thick. It feels very premium compared to the typical USB cables. So look at it, it's thicker than usual. I quite like it. I like the black. And then you have a dongle for 3.5mm headphones. So let's get to my favorite part. Oh, this phone feels nice, man. Okay, I didn't get to peel it off, so I ripped it off. So let's check out how the case fits. Fits very nicely, perfectly, but it takes away from the look, obviously. I'm gonna try not to use a case during the testing period because this is such a nice phone. So ultimately, I really like that dual curve screen that was pioneered by Samsung. Like right now I'm using the Huawei P20 Pro as my daily driver, and I love how this phone looks, except the screen, it's a little bit too flat. I wish I have a tempered glass protector on it, by the way. I wish the screen curved a little bit on the sides. So this phone manages to recreate that feel of a Samsung Galaxy device. Hey guys, I'm back. So this is my hands-on impressions of the phone after using it for 2.5 days. So first things first, you look at this phone, it looks, this is the best looking Nokia phone in years and years. Nokia technically made a comeback last year as an Android brand, but the phones they released were kind of dated looking with chunky bezels. This is the most modern, sleek looking phone yet. So you notice that there's dual curved displays that curved off on each side. It's kind of like the Samsung Galaxy phones. And this phone looks really sleek and sexy when it's laying flat on the table. I really love the way it looks. I love how the display looks like, images looks like just spilling off of the screen. The curve is even more drastic than current Samsung devices. So this is kind of more similar to the Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge or the S7 Edge. I'll get into more of that later. So the display is a 5.5-inch POLED display. So POLED stands for plastic OLED. It's sourced from LG. So you remember the LG V30 brouhaha. People, some tech writers were complaining that LG's OLED panel is not as good as the Samsung's panels, and there was color shift. So that is true to some degree. You definitely can see a little bit of color shift to blue when you tilt the phone off axis, but it's not too bad. I said the same thing when I reviewed my LG V30. I don't think I'm gonna look at this phone, watch videos, and be like, hey man, the screen sucks. So is this screen as good as a Samsung Galaxy OLED panel? No, it's slightly, more color shifting. It doesn't get as bright, but overall it's still a very impressive looking device. And even a OLED display that's not perfect, it's still better than an LCD panel in my opinion, because the colors are just pop more in the black. It's inky, it's deep black. So this is the best Nokia display yet, obviously. So the overall design of this phone, it's quite beautiful in my opinion. You know how some phone makers try to say the phone looks like a piece of jewelry, like it feels like a piece of like kind of pebble gemstone. This kind of actually fits the case. I really love that there's a volume rocker right here and power button right here, but they're actually kind of designed to be flush against the side of the device. Check it out. They don't really stick out like on just about every other modern smartphone, like the iPhone X's power button here, or the Huawei P20 Pro. So you see you have the buttons that stick out. So everything is flush. At the bottom of the display, you have a single speaker grill and a USB-C port. On the left, you have a SIM tray right here. And then on the top, you have an antenna line and a mic. So the only flaw in terms of hardware design so far, in terms of looking at the phone anyway, it's the camera bump. You have a 12 megapixel main shooter here and a 13 megapixel telephoto lens. Even the fingerprint sensor is flushed against the back of the phone. It just looks very sleek, very sexy. Again, I just love like opening up images and looking at it from the side. I just like how. Let me find a good picture. So right here we'll look at Hulk Hogan. So I really like looking at this phone from the side. It's so sleek, so nice. So anyway, I've said all these good things about the phone. Now I have to nitpick a little bit. So this phone looks really good. The design looks great, but once you start using it, a little bit of flaws here and there. So first of all, these edges. The reason Samsung's Galaxy S6 and S7 had curves like this, but then with the S8 and S9, it actually toned down the curve and made the curve more subtle. The reason they did that was because when it curves like this, it actually looks good, but it's not that good to use. So one, the phone, it's quite sharp on the edge because it kind of comes to an abrupt curvature. So when you're using it, it kind of digs into your palm a little bit. There's also a little bit more image distortion because the curve is so drastic. So when you look at something on the side, I like how it looks, but some people don't like it because it kind of, the image sort of distort. I look at Hulk Hogan's leg, it kind of curves down like right here a little bit. And the color shifts a little bit too because it's so curved. And the curvature of the screen also makes palm rejection pretty bad because your palm, it's always touching the edge of the screen. So I noticed this is a major problem when I'm holding the phone. A lot of times, because I want to hold the phone securely, right? So I'm gonna grip onto it like this. I don't just hold phones like this because that's easier to drop. So I grip onto it like this, and I notice that when I do this, I can't hit the shutter button. The reason why is because my finger, it's touching the edge of the screen, and that's kind of the palm rejection kind of kicking in, refusing to let me take a photo. So I have to remember to move my finger to do this. So that's because the curve is a little bit too drastic that my finger's always touching it. Samsung Galaxy S7 and S6 had this problem too, but then with the S8 and S9, it fixed that problem. So that's a minor nitpick. And then another one, it's the fingerprint sensor. It's actually so flush with the back that it's hard to find on the first couple of days. You'll get used to this maybe after using the phone as your daily driver for like 3-4 days. But then my first 2 days, I will pull the phone out of my pocket and just be like, wait, where's the fingerprint reader? Because it's completely flush against the back, so you can't find it by feel. At least it's in a good position though, not like the Sony Xperia XZ2 with the fingerprint sensor like right here. That was like weird. So now, one more little nitpick. You look at the top bezel, is relatively big, and you see this giant earpiece right here. It's so large, right? So you think, is this a front-firing speaker? But no, this phone only has a single speaker grill. Sound only comes out here. This is just an earpiece. So that's kind of huge for just an earpiece. Because, for example, the Huawei P20 Pro has stereo speakers, and it's able to pump out sound just from this little circular earpiece like right here. It's hard to see. Let me try to get the light on it like that right there. So Huawei manages to pump out sound off of this. So now let's talk specs a little bit. This phone runs on Snapdragon 835, so technically it's a year-old chipset, but to be honest, 835 is more than good enough for almost everybody. Like, unless you're editing videos in 4K, you're not going to notice a big difference. So you look at benchmarks, it scored a 1938 single core and a 6728 multi-core. That's really damn good. 6728. Even on a Snapdragon 845 on my Galaxy S9, it only scored maybe like a 7,300. So we're talking about a 500 points difference, which is basically nothing. You're not going to notice anything. It helps that this phone has 6 gigs of RAM, and it runs on Android One. Android One is Android's platform for complete stock Android. So this phone has zero bloatware whatsoever. Check out how minimal the apps are. I downloaded like 3 apps already. I downloaded Instagram, Google Handwriting, and also PCMark and Geekbench. So I downloaded 4 apps. So otherwise, that's all the apps that come with the phone. There's like no bloatware whatsoever. And even check out the settings. There's almost like no setting to scroll through. That's it. You know how on a Samsung phone, you can scroll up and down the settings for like 20 seconds? On this one, there's like nothing. So that's good and bad. The good is that stock Android, it's obviously a lot of Android fans love it because it's so clean. And this phone is super fast. You can jump between apps without zero problems. You know, performance is amazing. Everything is super fast. But my problem with stock Android is that it's almost like too clean. There's like no customization whatsoever. I actually prefer some type of customization on my phones. Like for example, I like that on Xiaomi and OnePlus devices. I can bring down a notification shade by swiping anywhere on the screen. With stock Android, you cannot. You have to swipe from the top. So that's hard to reach with one hand. You are able to swipe it down with the notification shade, but I just find this a little bit unnatural. Like, so you have to hold the phone, hold it from one hand. You have to kind of loosen your grip a little bit just to do this. Why not just let me do this, like on Xiaomi or OnePlus phones? Stock Android don't let you do this. And then I also like on, for example, Meizu devices, you can draw a circle to launch your camera, like draw an F to launch Facebook, or on something like a Huawei P20 Pro. Some people will say this is gimmicky, but I quite like it. You can tap on the screen and slice like that to open up like split screen mode. So that's pretty cool. It's kind of fun to play with. This phone doesn't have any of that. You do get an always on display, which is awesome. The always on display will show notifications from even third-party icons, and you get, as you can see right here, double tap to wake. So that's pretty cool. This phone also supports wireless charging, and it's IP67 water resistant. So in terms of features, the Nokia 8 Sirocco has just about all the stuff you would expect out of a flagship. So that's pretty cool. Performance is fast. The camera, you have a 12 megapixel main shooter and a 13 megapixel telephoto lens. That's interesting that the telephoto is actually has a higher megapixel count. I don't know why, because I don't think this phone's 2x zoom is necessarily that good. So I'll take a picture right now of Groot. So check it out. It actually came out blurry. I guess I might have pressed on the phone too hard. We'll try it one more time. I'll go a little bit more gentle. So you see, it turned out okay, but it's not that clean. I don't know why this phone needs a 13 megapixel telephoto lens. For example, I'll show you really quick with a Huawei P20 Pro. So check out the image. Groot comes out a lot more detailed and vibrant on the Huawei P20 Pro's zoom. But even though the telephoto lens is disappointing, other photos turns out pretty nice. Above average, definitely can compare to an iPhone 10 or Huawei P20 Pro, but not bad. Check out this low light photo. Relatively well balanced. It did overexpose the tunnel right here, but the rest of the image looks good. We'll check out another image right here. This is a food shot of this uni. Check out the texture. It looks amazing. This is a really nice shot. And again, I love this curved screen, how the image just slides off the edge of the screen like an infinity pool. So this is an excellent shot. We'll check out another 2x zoom. So this is Iron Man. I'm so excited for this movie, by the way. Now right here is 2x zoom. You see, again, it's a little bit blurry and just kind of not a clear image. So I don't know why the telephoto lens is 13 megapixel when it's not that good. So this phone supports bokeh mode, obviously, and it's quite nice. The blur is very natural around my girlfriend. I like this bokeh look better than on the Huawei P20 Pro, to be honest. That phone's a little bit too aggressive. This looks nice. So this is another low light shot. The building has really good details considering how dim it is. But as I mentioned, though, it cannot compare to a Huawei P20 Pro. Though. That phone, it's like the low-light photography king right now. So I'll show you 2 samples side by side. Let me make them smaller. So, I mean, look at the difference on the Huawei P20 Pro on the left versus the Nokia 8. It's kind of, see, it overexposed the light right here, whereas on the P20 Pro, the light is more balanced, and then there's a lot more details in the sky, a lot more details in the top row of buildings. So, but again, not a fair comparison. This is the best smartphone camera in the world right now. If you ignore that, if you compare the Nokia 8 to other phones that aren't a Samsung or Huawei or an Apple, I think the camera is very strong. Like this is a really dark police station. The image turned out pretty nice. So overall, I'm satisfied with this camera. No major complaints. We'll check out a video really quick. So this is my band. Alright, sorry, this is not a good video to test. Let me find one of the videos of me walking, because I want to show you video quality as I'm walking down the street. So here we go. So this is shot kind of at night in Bangkok. It's a really bright scene though, because so much lights, you know. But this is a really good video. See, so 2x zoom right there, very clear. Again, I'm a 2x zoom again. Pretty nice clear. So a lot of details. The lights aren't overexposed. This is a really good video. So I'm gonna play one more video. So you notice I'm using Google Photos here because this phone is so stock it doesn't even have a gallery app. So this is a nighttime video. Again, look at the details. This is impressive. Flagship quality, definitely. 2x zoom right here. So the camera app itself, it's easy to use, it's very clean, except my only two nitpicks, is that one, the selfie button to switch the selfie camera is actually on the upper right corner, so that's hard to do when you're holding the phone with one hand. It's hard to reach. And also when you go into Pro mode, in the Pro mode, you don't actually get to see the difference in quality when you're changing, very minor. On other phones, when you're changing like shutter speed and ISO, you can see the image change color and shade and lighting, but this one you don't really see anything, so it's hard to see exactly what's going on. So that's about it for now. Oh,